So I'm not quite sure this is the best way to approach this. I could sit here and compose something like eloquent and poetic and where I have full control over the words that I use and don't just stumble over things. I'm not very good at face-to-face things, even when it's just me facing myself. Sometimes that's even harder, actually. But this is like the equivalent of FaceTime, and I think it's the most honest, authentic way that I can say what I'm trying to say. And I'll just start by saying I'm sorry if you feel like I have, quote unquote, as the young people would say, ghosted you over the past month and a half or so. But it was just something that I felt that I needed to do. I needed to give myself space and distance from you, and that was just the best way I knew how to do it. You may not have even noticed, but for me it was excruciatingly difficult. The fact of the matter is that I know myself really well at this point. I know how I react and respond to things, and I know that I have the propensity to get way too invested in other people and just simply things that I don't have control over. And that's what had happened, and for a long time it was totally fine. There were no reasons for me to analyze like what you had become to me, because it just didn't matter. But now that you have a girlfriend, I really had to reevaluate things, because I didn't want to get left behind, and I didn't want my feelings hurt, and I didn't want to like feel abandoned or replaced or whatever. And this has nothing to do with like jealousy or feeling some sort of ownership over you. It's just a protective mechanism. I think it goes without saying that over the past couple of years, you've come to play a very important role in my life. You have essentially filled this emotional void that my ex-girlfriend left. I had her as a girlfriend and partner and roommate, but she was also my best friend, and probably was more best friend than a girlfriend for like the last year of my relationship, because she was cheating on me. But the truth is that when I lost her to Kim, she cut me out completely, and they had each other, and I was left out in the cold. I couldn't even play a role as a friend anymore. And I just am I was terrified of that happening again here. Not that you've ever done anything wrong or let me down or anything like that. I just know how it goes, particularly with girlfriends. I feel that I've always been very upfront and honest about my borderline personality disorder and how it affects me with interpersonal relationships. And one of the major problems is that I have, some would say, irrational fear of being abandoned or left. And that's real or imagined. You know, it doesn't make any difference in my head. Everything is real. And that's just one of those situations where, as a defense mechanism, I've learned to leave people before they can leave me, or cut them out before they can cut me out. It's a way to prevent that hurt, because that hurt never goes away, and it damages me significantly more than it would the normal person. So that's what I've been trying to do for my health. Self-preservation for me is really important, and this is just like one of those pitfalls for me where I only have one friend and I am always susceptible to being left behind because I only have that one person, and that's asking a lot of one person to be there for me all the time. So it's always my fault, you know. I do this to myself, and I recognize that. I just don't like a lot of people, and it's a problem. But I had grown really accustomed to having you there, and I'm not saying that you wouldn't be now, but it is just a fear of mine. And I had grown to the point where I looked forward to hearing from you. I looked forward to seeing your name in my notifications. I looked forward to telling you about things that I had done. I looked forward to getting your opinion on things. I just grown too dependent on you, I guess. And that wasn't going to work anymore. Before you were in a relationship, it was different. And I, like, it's all very confusing for me. And I'm just trying to figure out what role I have now. And I think that I've distanced myself enough and sorted through shit where I'm not so obviously hyper dependent on you. And it wasn't easy for me. There were a million times I wanted to reach out, but I had to just mute everything that you were doing on Instagram and just take myself out of the equation completely. And I've been fine. I've managed to make it work. It's just, I miss being on Twitter and engaging with you, I guess. I know that was the most that the closest I'd ever be to you, that I never knew we were never going to meet in person. So I had to just temper my expectations and redefine what this was. And I think we're there now. I mean, it's just, human relationships are very tricky, and I am notoriously bad at them. I saw that my ex got engaged. I had to just mute all of them, by the way, too, on Instagram. I learned how to mute stories specifically so I didn't have to see any of that shit. I am very happy for Kim and Megan, and but I don't think I need to be a part of that wedding planning process, so that's been fun to grapple with. And I'm also very happy for you. It's like I'm very happy for people. It's just difficult to get used to seeing it, I guess. Anyway, I don't know if this makes sense, but I am really sorry, and I'm sorry. As is always the case with me, I could sit here for hours and just keep rattling off things about how I feel, dissecting my emotions and my responses to things, but I'm trying to be more succinct and keep it short-ish, because you don't need this in your life. But I felt like I owed an explanation, because I know that I would want one if the situations were flipped, but they'll never be. I'm the only one that struggles this mightily with change and with redefining things. And I also have the tendency to mean more, for other people to mean more to me. Let's see, how do I say this? I have the tendency to get more invested than the other person does, always. So I end up getting hurt a lot. But anyway, you don't need to respond to this. I just wanted to go out and send it into the world so that you knew what I was thinking. Okay? Bye!